So I represent Catholic Relief Services, which was started by the bishops of the United States for international relief. With me also is Catholic Charities, which are operating on domestic services for the United States. Together, we are the United States Caritas member of Caritas International. What I'm going to talk about today is actually what we are committed to doing and what we have actually done. So the last part of Cardinal Tagley's comment about what he's doing in the Philippines, we want to talk about what the Catholic Church in the United States is ready to do and is already doing. I'm going to make 5 points. The first point is that we recognize the role that the Church has to play in this country, given that the United States is the #1 emitter per capita. And so our work is significant in terms of potential impact. We also recognize that the approaches we take must achieve 2 goals. One is just relationships, and the second one is a healthy environment. The second point I want to make is that our 2 main goals within the United States are really education and advocacy to our government. In terms of education, for example, we have a program which is called I Am Climate Change. I am the cause, I am the solution, which is going out to the Catholic universities as well as state universities to make sure that our young people are knowledgeable and understand their role in bringing about solutions. We are also doing major advocacy to the U.S. government. We take an approach which is both grass tops, which means that we bring church leaders and other leaders to meet with our congressional representatives. We have quite a number of meetings already with our senators and our congressional representatives. The bishops have hosted many press conferences, for example. That's the grass top advocacy. We are also engaging our citizens, Catholics and non-Catholics, in writing to the government. We have an electronic platform where we give them information about various policies. We ask them to vote in particular ways. They give us their zip code, and we could identify their government representative, and they could just send an email very quickly. So that is our approach in terms of advocacy from both leaders and the citizens of the United States to the government. The third point is about the focus of our advocacy. Our approaches relate to both mitigation, which is what a lot of people have talked about, particularly on achieving legally binding, transparent, and accountable commitment to the frameworks. It's very exciting to achieve what we have done, for example, with China. But the most important thing is that we have to live up to those commitments. And so there is a number of mitigation-based approaches. But we also believe that adaptation is underemphasized, that the people who are already suffering are not getting the relief that they need. In fact, we just heard from one of the interventions. And we believe it's just as important to provide funding for people to adapt. Actually, you made those points. And that the funding should not be a replacement for our international aid, but should be an addition to our international aid. The fourth point is that on behalf of the Church in the United States, both Catholic Charities and CRS are undertaking programming in these areas. And so it includes disaster risk reduction as well as disaster preparedness, as Cardinal Tagley talked about. CRS working overseas actually works with our Filipino church partners to achieve those, but around the world to put in those measures. We also believe that climate-smart agriculture and water-smart agriculture is very important in terms of protecting the productivity of farmers. We will do large-scale work, including involving probably about 50 million farmers in terms of this type of work. The fifth point I want to make is that we recognize the importance of corporations and businesses in achieving solutions. And so our programming work now has involved businesses actually, and will continue to do so, including reaching out to the UN Global Compact with 8,000 business members who have different degrees of commitment to this problem. Thank you very much.